Greetings everyone, it is Zakhele here. We are back with our weekly videos, and this week we will be talking about taxes. As we all know, last week we were supposed to have a budget, but it was cancelled because the finance minister wanted to increase VAT on us by 2 percentage points, right? And this week we wanted to talk about, firstly, what this taxes thing. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Why is it necessitated by the state? And are there any alternatives to, raising taxes that we can look at as a country as we try to work our way out of this economic malaise that we find ourselves in? But as we have mentioned, last week the finance minister proposed to raise taxes, and in the 11th hour, political parties, according to reports, including members of his own cabinet, opposed the raising of those taxes, specifically VAT, by 2 percentage points. As we all know, VAT impacts the poor most disproportionately because they have less spendable income, they have less disposable income that is available to them compared to people in the higher rung of the economic ladder. So when you increase the cost of purchasing goods and services for them, even though there would be zero rated ones, and if you've watched our videos, our problems with zero rated goods in terms of the social engineering aspect of it, but even though there would be zero rated items, there would still be an increase in the living standard, the cost of living at least, of the poor, and that is something that thankfully is not acceptable to a majority of political parties, including members of the ruling party itself. But what are the alternatives? Because the reason the government wanted to raise VAT is because they are in a hole. We are running a budget deficit, meaning that we have spending obligations that far outstrip the revenue that SARS collect from taxes, right? So the government has to do something. It's either it increases taxes or it cuts the spending so that it equalizes to the revenue that it collects. And it seems like the government was not quite willing to cut spending. And we here at the Free Market Foundation, including me personally, right, believe that should be the solution. Government spending must be cut. We already know through the multiple Auditor General reports that there's a whole lot of waste in our government. So just from, the wasteful expenditure that is not accounted for within the already budgeted for programs, there could be some cuts that can be made. But then within the context of just trying to find programs that aren't as pressing, a need, or that aren't as valuable to South Africans, I think that can be done and should be done in an effort to try and minimize the amount of money that the government spends, whilst also equally, and this is very important, the government needs to grow the South African tax base, and that can only be done by growing the economy. Here at the Free Market Foundation, we've been advocating for the government of national unity to adopt policies that do grow, the economy. We have, the Liberty First, if you've been a fan of the channel, been following it, where we offer, policy recommendations like the deregulation of the labor market and a much more friendlier international trade outlook, and even including reducing the size and scope of the government, as we have just mentioned, in cutting and limiting government spending. So the solutions are there for the growth of the South African economy, and these two solutions, growing the economy and cutting government spending, should be, applied in tandem. That is the only way we can work ourselves out of the problems that we find ourselves in. We hope that the government, as it is drafting, the next budget that will be presented in March, is considering these solutions. As we said here at the FMF, we've already given them a blueprint of what they need to do to grow the South African economy, so we hope that they follow it. But as always, please do tell us what you think. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section. Give the video a like. Do you think that taxes should be raised? Do you think VAT should be raised? Do you think government spending should be cut? At this moment in time, we find ourselves in a situation whereby we have no other choice, right? It's either we cut government spending or we raise taxes in some other manner, right? And here we are presenting a third choice, which is cut government spending and grow the economy. We hope you agree with us, but if you don't, please do tell us what you think. And as always, stay free.